Hey everybody. So welcome to our show. This is Random Snacks. We had a podcast before, but this one's more in depth. I think it's more put together. So you're gonna get to know us a little bit more personal. It's my therapy, so it helps me a lot. So I'm Anthony. And then I have my two cousins here.
I'm
DJ.
Vince, and I'm not useful in any kind of serious situation.
And then we have our two friends who are more than likely going to be up here the most, unless we have other guests. But
I'm Marquise, probably the asshole.
My name's Tyler. I probably won't talk as much as everyone else, but if I have something to say, it will be said.
we'll make them talk.
Too much.
So today's topic for episode number 1, I wanted it to be what these women really want. The reason I say that is because it seems like you can do everything you want to do to please them in some way, whether it be emotionally or physically or whatever, and it's not enough. So I hope we don't make too many people mad. I said this before we did the podcast. If you have anything, put it in the comments. We'll come back to it most podcasts. If not, I do plan on bringing people on the show that's not just men, because I don't want you guys to think it's just a sexist podcast. It's not. But this is just our perspective from situations that we've been through, and we're just going off of that. So, my first thing that I want to touch on is loyalty. I personally feel like you can be loyal to a fault and then it still not be enough in some aspects. I don't know what you guys feel like, but from my own experiences, there's been issues where, okay, we're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. We're all human, right? So that being said, you can do what you want. You can show them that you're being loyal, but then they'll find one thing wrong that you're not doing, and then that automatically means you're not being loyal entirely. So I feel like that's kind of messed up on our end because we're trying. Me back in my past, yes. Have I messed up? Yeah. But have I tried to turn it around to where I can show you that I am being loyal? Yes. So if I'm saying that I'm loyal, I'm being loyal. But that also being said, if you're pushing me to the point where I'm trying and I'm trying and I'm trying, and you keep saying like, well, you're not doing this or you're not doing that, it's one of those, why am I doing this if you're still going to say I'm doing that? You know what I mean?
Well,
So
when you get into talking about loyalty, you're starting to shift a little bit.
Yeah.
So, loyalty, starting off at first, are we talking about like being cheated on, something like that? Or are you talking about loyalty in what they're expecting from you?
what they're expecting from you.
Okay.
So it's like I understand like the whole cheating aspect of it. I do. Like I said, we're all not human. I've been on both ends. Yes. Have I not been faithful? Yes. But then I also feel like there's been times where the person that I'm with hasn't been faithful. But I feel like if you guys are establishing something and you have a goal as a couple that you want to do, that with work you can look past that and grow from it. Is it going to hurt? Does it take time? Yes. But if you say that you love this person and you want to be with this person, then if you want to work towards it, then work towards it. But on both ends of it too, you can't say you want to work with this person or I want to be with this person, but then not allow the change to happen.
Dude, it is crazy because I feel like, what women want is all so individual, and it's more about when women want it for me. And I'm just saying that because, for instance, when I was 18, what a woman wanted then was much different than what she wants now. And 18, I'd say to 21, you left high school, you had your couple boyfriends, but you're still in that experimental phase. You never date a girl between 18 and 21. Why don't you date them between 18 and 21? Because up until that point, when they hit 21, they're in the bar phase. But 18 to 21, they're looking for all that party shit. Between 20, I'd say 3 and 26, those ones you might date a little bit, but
No.
I guarantee.
I disagree.
I mean, you can.
I
He
disagree.
said a
You
little
can.
bit.
You can.
Oh my God, no, you can't.
But hey, but look, man, prime age is 30. You can disagree all you want. Prime age is around 30. They've done been used up, and they're done with this shit. I'm telling you.
I
And,
mean,
and now,
you
now
say
they're
that a
like,
lot.
I already got a kid. How many girls you know at the age of 30 have a kid already? Probably. And,
Way
and
too
those
many.
ones are so committing. They're so easy to commit to because they want to. The other ones didn't fucking care.
It is, but I feel like most girls, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, start looking at having kids at like 25 to 30 in that area.
You
So, like
think?
you said,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or do they
I-
just have them? Do they
no,
want to? Or do
I
they
have
just
friends
have
who are like, I want one at 27. And it was
No.
just like, for real?
them? But do you meet their standard sort of call at that age? You know, it's like it's about what they consider is a good standard. Because look, they're still in that phase where they still think they're gonna get a guy that's like making six figures by that point, or they're super buff, or they go to choose every fucking day. Hey, you might go to choose every fucking day. We got 1 out of 3, right?
Got
So
1
it's
out of
like, so what?
And I am not super buff neither.
You buff, you buff, you buff.
I think where I mess up, like at that age, like I do kind of agree from the age, 26 to 30, they do. I think me personally, I was immature in that age, but I feel like the people around you and who you listen to kind of goes into your thought process too. Now it's more or less whatever social media like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, or whatever people are doing that. 'Cause everybody gets their information and their quotes off of TikTok now. You know what I mean? And back then when I
Terrible
was,
source, by the way.
Yeah, I'm so sick of seeing like those Facebook posts of, like, oh, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. And I'm like, yeah.
Well, they set standards that way with all the youth or anybody really that watches the video set standards that we believe we have to follow.
yeah, because back then like we had just Facebook and Instagram, but like
In MySpace.
Good old
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
But I listened
Millennials
to the people,
stand up.
Like I listened to the people around me. Like I had a lot of people that were older than me. Were like, "Oh, you need to settle down. Oh, you need to settle down. You need to be in a relationship. This and that." So I did that, and then I got in a relationship, and then 3 years after that, I got married. Like at 27, 28, when I can personally look at myself and think back, and I know that I wasn't ready. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So when you see the women that are like 26 to 30 that do want to settle down and have a family and do all this stuff, like us as men, we're not ready. I don't feel like we're ready.
Well,
There's some men that are, but I don't feel like.
it's scarier for us because we're looking for that like marriage, that commitment, and all that shit, and we got so blindsided by all the women that just weren't ready for that. So by the time it comes 26 to 30, we're kind of scared. We're like, yo, so you're really trying to get married? You know what I'm saying? Like there's no way, you know, and so we kind of falsely commit. And it's blindsiding. I mean, at least it's how I feel. You know, some people they can commit and be wholeheartedly with it, but some people are just so loose footed, you know, between that age. I guess I'm speaking more for men at that time period.
Yeah, and then I've like
Uh,
since my separation and all that, I've also been in situations. The reason I say what women really want, because there's been times where like after my separation and after like my divorce and stuff like that, I was looking at changing. Obviously, what I was doing then is what didn't work. So then, so I was like, so what do they want? And then I like obviously stopped stepping out, and I would communicate better, and like I'm upfront, like from the front. Like if you're going to talk to me now or you're going to date me now, this is where I'm at. This is who I am. I'm an open book. You know what I mean? So, which I feel like me saying that is like, if you need to know something, let me know. You know, so that being said, like, I'm not going to hold back, but then you give them that open opportunity to ask you anything you want, and then they don't. Or if you do certain stuff, they'll be like, well, I didn't know. But you could just ask me. I can't read your mind either.
Yeah, I was gonna say then the issues pop up years down the line, kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's like I don't try to hide anything or try to say anything, but like I'm open and honest to anything you want to know or whatever. Or women nowadays always want, because of social media, it's always like men have to provide all the time. I've done that too.
Yeah, and that's actually what I was gonna speak on earlier.
Mhm.
for like my relationship, how we guys were talking about 25 to 30 and everything.
Hmm.
For mine, they were like expecting me to provide for a family already at that point, and I'm like, I'm still like entry level at this point. Like, I know I didn't do 4-year college. If you do, you get out at what, 21,
Yeah.
22, something like that. So it's like that's a whole lot of stepping up. So you look at the older people in your life, and you're like, okay, so they got 2 cars and a 3-bedroom house, and you're like, I gotta do that at 27 already.
Well, no, you're very stable
So-
though. From what I've noticed, you're very good with your money. You know, you do own a house. You bought your car cash. Like, you're very stable.
Yeah,
You know,
I
and
am.
I
But
think
He's like,
you're
now.
I was gonna say at 32, yeah.
Well, I mean, well,
But
we
it-
started hanging out years ago.
By 21, maybe not so much.
I did, but again, all that actually mostly started right after my big breakup.
Yeah.
'Cause
So
it's
what?
like-
So we're saying that changes people, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, for better or worse.
Was
And
it
in
so
your
girls
case,
don't look for anybody that hasn't been in a big relationship that broke up. Make sure they're over age 30.
Yeah. That's good.
Because yeah, it was like trying to think about that. Because when I first started thinking about getting married and stuff, it was like it was an intimidating hurdle.
Yeah.
Like I got to be like my dad kind of thing, and it's like I ain't there at all. I got a 1-bedroom apartment. I start stacking vertical.
Yeah, I feel that same way. Like, I felt like, again, going back to like after my separation, I was more like, well, what do I have to do now? What do I have to do different? And we have this running joke in this house where it's like, all women are crazy in a way because like we do this. Like, I know DJ's been in a situation where he'll do anything and everything for whoever he's talking to or whatever, and then it still not be enough. Me personally,
Yeah.
I used to. I was talking to someone where I would, like, you guys know, I was like going to Sierra Vista all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it's close, so it's like what 100 and something miles back and forth or whatever, and that's still not enough. It's like, this is what I'm looking for, but you're not giving to. You're not coming to me. I'm coming to you. When I come out there, I take care of you. Whenever you have a problem, I take care of you. So how is it I'm the problem?
Yeah, it's like you need that give and take. Because again, even I had a girlfriend in Phoenix. It's like every weekend or every other week you got to drive up there, go see her, drive back, and it's like, can't you come down here this time? Like I'm tired. I was working.
It's crazy because now you realize why the mythological creature, the succubus, literally was ever invented.
Yep.
And you know, we're looking at it like a
'Cause it's
mythological
truth.
creature. And it could have just been some dude who's like, this bitch is like a bat bitch who sucks your energy and just fucks you for all you have. My coin is gone. Whatever. You know, something from the 1500s.
Exactly.
Well,
Have
who
a
the fuck
good friend
knows,
who
you
can
know?
draw. And
Yeah. I get it, bro. I get it. It makes me wonder about the other creatures, but that definitely is an interesting one.
There's also like,
That's a good point.
I think it's funny how too, like,
Not
when,
wrong.
I think it's funny also how, like, say you do everything from 1 to 10, you know what I mean? And then out of nowhere they'll be like, well, I know you do this, I know you do that, but I don't think that's enough for me. So then, like, they either break up with you or they leave the relationship, right? And then you look down the line, and then now all of a sudden you see them with somebody else, and then you're like, so what are they doing differently? Because I gave you everything you wanted, and yet it still wasn't enough. Like, what were you just looking for a pastime? Because I've noticed too in the last 2 to 3 years that it's messed up, but like what I used to do before I was in relationships and stuff like that, it feels like it shifted. I don't know if anybody else has feel like that. It feels like what men used to do and women used to get mad at men for doing, now the women are doing it
Oh,
to
yeah.
men.
They've taken over the alpha spot.
Dude, it's a black
there's-
hole of expectations.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. They just eat that shit alive.
It sucks because it's like with me going into it, like, for example, I can say that I need reassurance because like I have really bad anxiety, so I already feel like sometimes I'm put in that situation where I'm not doing enough, even though when I talk to you guys I am doing enough or whatever. And then I just hate the fact that like you can do everything for them and then you do that one thing and it's like Armageddon. So I don't know if anybody else had any experiences with that at all.
Yeah, so I mean, when I
Mhm.
saw a therapist for a couple years, and basically the way he explained that idea was that when I have guilt, I put someone on a pedestal, and that guilt allows me to not see them for what really is going on. In a sense, it's like if you only can remember the good things and you never remember the bad things, you can never get over it. You can never, come across that hurdle. Um, so I guess kind of what I'm getting at is they kind of have this way of making them on this pedestal, and actually you do it to yourself. It's not really even them. You do it to yourself, and men are just prone to doing that. And you suffer. I mean, you almost have to suffer until you realize that you're doing it to yourself. You know.
I think that's partially because it's like, as a guy, what do you expect from the girl at that point? Because it's like we know what we expect from ourselves. Like you said, we expect to be providers, we expect to be lovers, we expect to do all this stuff.
Socially, we're expected to do that.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
then
we're raised.
what's the girl's job at that point?
Yeah.
Without it sounding like you're coming off sexist.
Yeah, because
It's like
I mean,
Final Fantasy. They're allowed to switch classes, but we're not.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I
So
mean? That doesn't
but I
fucking
mean,
make any sense.
That's how we end up putting them on a pedestal because it's like the girl's doing her part, she's here, and it's like so
Yeah.
Like,
we
is that
have to
it?
earn our keep, but she just has to be here, you know.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
agree.
like, oh, we messed
No,
up, we
whatever,
messed up. It's like
I
they
want real hard to find me a sugar mama so I can just be there and she can go provide. That'd be great.
And it's crazy because like if we say something like how you just said that, if we
Mhm.
say it like and we're serious about it, we're a
Which
piece
we
of shit.
are. No.
It's like we're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But if it's reversed and like a woman says, "Oh, I'm looking for me a sugar daddy," oh, you go, girl.
Hey,
Like, what the fuck? Like, how is it okay?
dude, the best thing is like the a girl, in an RPG, they want you to be a tank. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My girl,
Take all the
I'm a
hits.
mage. I ain't no tank. I'm not the one that does all that shit. I'm gonna let you know right now. I'm a skirt class. I ain't doing all that shit. If this was back in the day of slavery, I would never be a farm Negro. I'd be a house Negro. I'll tell you right now. And I know my role, and I'll tell you right away. Sometimes they don't like it, and that's how I've overcome the issue.
Mm,
Because some people, you try to live up to the tank. You go out there and you still got your skirt on and your cane, and you're like, I'll fight it. And it doesn't make sense because you try to fight it, but you only knows magic and you get your ass beat, and the monster's really the woman. You gotta figure this shit out. Know your role. I mean, that's my biggest
Such a
advice.
gamer.
that was, I mean, that was. I'd
Damn
applaud
it,
if I was
did
home
not
with a computer right
necessarily
now.
follow every single beat of that.
Yeah.
Makes so much sense.
You only got so many potions, man. You think I could buy more of these? Stop breaking my fucking heart. That's all I gotta tell you.
No heart potion.
Now I need my friend to revive me. You know what I'm saying? This is dumb.
So it's like I said, I don't want for any woman that hears this, I don't want you to feel like we're bashing you. We're just asking a legit question. What do you want? Because I didn't want to bring it into the podcast, like the whole Will Smith thing. We're going to talk about it. Oh, so it's like
Yes.
So
First off, I agree 100% with what Will Smith did.
yeah,
I got his back. He is the homie.
and
He
it's
did
one
what
of
this
those,
woman wanted.
yeah, and it's one of those things like okay, so going back to the original topic, it's like what do women really want? They want security. They want to be provided for. Some of them do because I feel like some women are so independent that gets in the way. But they want to be provided for. They want security. They want a family, and they want you to be like the head of the household, the strength. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so he did that, and now he's getting bashed for it.
Yeah, like way too hard for no reason. He upheld the guy code there. If somebody
Yeah.
starts bad mouthing your girl, you're supposed to smack him in the mouth.
Yeah.
That's all he did. And even Chris Rock, again, upheld the guy code. He knew he must have spoke out about something that was either really intense with their family life or with what's going on. And everybody knows what's going on with Will Smith at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like he didn't retaliate or anything. He was like, I'm sorry, I'll stop kind of deal, and moved on with the show.
It looked like implosion to me, though. It didn't look like an explosion. It looked like Will Smith has been going through shit with her
Yeah.
at home in private. It didn't look like it was, I'm mad now. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I'm going to slap him. It was like, the world has fucked me for 2 years.
Yeah.
And I'm finally, dude, this is the face in front of the fucking world. This is me showing you I'm slapping a nigga
and
for
then-
my
Yeah,
girl.
he's like, I'm
Yeah.
done with
And
this.
then going back to what I said, so he protected, so to speak, right?
Mhm.
Still
His
protected,
family.
and it meant
You
jack
have to
shit.
defend her.
Wasn't enough.
It
No.
made jack shit. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
What do you mean it didn't mean anything? It meant a lot to me. I actually liked that whole interaction with him and everything.
Yeah.
but that
So you're
goes
not
back to what
Jada.
we're saying. Though. Us,
Yeah.
us,
Yeah, like we all agreed with them, but at the same time, it's like he's the one banned from the academy now. She's the one asking to leave him because of how he acted, and it was like he did exactly what you expected and what you wanted from him, and he's getting punished every which way.
He's not Tupac. Come on, if Tupac
So?
that she was with Tupac, it'd have been just fine.
He's from West Philadelphia, born and raised.
Oh, great.
He's an OG.
Where he spent most of his days.
Yeah.
But it's like going back to it. It's like, so what are we supposed to do?
Exactly. If you don't do what Will Smith did, you end up like Johnny Depp.
Another good
My
one.
hero.
Another good
My
one.
hero.
Then he's your hero with
But
all the
it's
shit
like-
that he's going through and everything. He's finally
She
winning
pooped on his
it.
pillow.
I was gonna say he's finally winning it now, but it's like the last so and so time,
Yeah.
everybody's been shitting on him.
How you get your finger cut off, your pillow pooped on, and kids? And she was like, "Oh, I wasn't punching you. I was hitting you." Bitch, you're
So?
crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gone, dude. At that point, dude. But he just, and you know that it was so funny. They were like, "Oh, so I heard you've been drinking a lot." He's like, "Were you there?" Like, you know, like the fuck, like no one really knows my fucking life, you know, except this bitch right here that's been beating the shit out of me daily.
And he just put up with it because he's a guy.
he's a good guy.
Yeah, because he's a guy. Because that's what we're told we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
It's like it goes back to when we were like kids too, where it's like you're not supposed to do this to a woman, or you're not supposed to say this to a woman. But like I said, it goes back to that reverse role, to where now they're doing whatever they want to us because
Because
Lord
we
behold,
can't
they-
fight back.
Yeah, they can't fight back. You can't fight back physically. You can't fight back verbally. You can't write it down because then now you're getting beat up by the bloggers and the bloggers.
Mhm.
So what are we supposed to do?
Or you get made into a meme.
Or you get made into a meme or a new TikTok. So
And this guy, Marquise over here, is the meme lord, and he's
Dear Lord.
600 different posts for every event that happens.
and I feel sorry for the guy.
Yeah.
Look at this meme.
Hey, I mean,
And I feel bad
Yeah,
because they're
it's
funny.
that you have your stance that you have when you're talking about Will Smith because of all the memes and stuff. You're spreading the lies, you're spreading the hate, and you're like, no, but I really feel bad for him. I was like, well, why would you do that to?
no, I mean, dude, I mean, how it was funny. Like, let's be real. I mean, I can't separate the fact that I laughed at it, and I would love for other people to smile just as I did. But you know, it's funny because he stays around. He made himself a meme. He made himself a joke. I'm sorry, but he did. I mean, he did the right thing, I guess, at the end of the day.
What do you mean
Dude,
he made himself
Dude,
a
he's
joke?
been doing it. The first time August Alsina, that whole incident, he literally, when she cheated on him,
Mhm.
with August Alsina.
And so
Check
you're saying
this
it
out.
was his
He-
fault because he cried?
Yeah,
at
I was
them?
gonna say, how
No.
is that- that's not-
No. His response to it after. So he didn't say like, yes, he said he was upset or whatever. But what he did was be like, oh, we're in an open relationship. That
Yeah,
was
so-
a fucking lie. He did that to save his wife's dignity and only to fucking bitch slap someone else
Yeah, because
to get canceled.
and we were talking about this last night when everybody was saying that they were in an open relationship. I don't feel like they were in an open relationship because the way he was crying, if it was an open relationship, he shouldn't have been that upset about it.
Yeah, he
'Cause
would've known
Yeah,
already.
because he could have just went and did his own
It
thing.
was, he's also in the face of the public, so it's like you're trying
Yeah.
to save face for your family and stuff like that at that point. I think that's the
His
only reason he
career.
said that it was an open relationship
Mhm.
and that they were still working on their
I still
marriage
wanna
and
work,
things
I
like
still wanna
that.
do movies, I still wanna do this.
And
Yeah,
you got to
'cause-
think of the mindset of Jada. That was Jada's son's friend. Okay, that's like some Pornhub shit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, she's like, my son's friend's coming over tonight. And, you know, what was she doing? How was her
Dressed
mindset?
up.
She's a grown ass woman with kids. But she's like, yo, August, what's up? That is filthy to
It's,
me.
yeah.
Filthy.
Very.
Yeah.
So
It's not just an accident.
if a girl was to cheat on you, like if you were in a relationship and she cheated on you, would you continue to try to fix that relationship?
I did it
At that point?
with my marriage,
Yeah.
and it meant jack shit. And I took it better. I took the cheating way, way better than she did. Or
Yeah.
whatever. And I stayed and I did this, but then like it's only but so long or so much you can take before you necessarily get. It's like getting spit on after a while, you know. So it's like she spit in my face with the cheating. Okay,
Mm.
wipe it off. Look, you're my wife. Let's make this work. Anything we have to do for our family, let's do it. But then when you continue to keep getting spit on and spit on and spit on and spit on, and he's like, when do you say stop?
Yeah, it's like I honestly at this point I don't think it's worth it anymore. Like if you get cheated on and stuff, I don't think it's worth it at that point to be like, oh, let's try to fix it and we're tougher than this and everything. It's like I don't think you are.
And I feel like
At this point,
and
I don't
I
think
pat
anybody
myself
is.
on the back because like when it happened to me,
You
I was
didn't
like,
burn down a single house.
yeah, and I was fine. And I was like, okay, I get it. And I was like, I can't get mad at you because I've done it before. You know what I mean? Or like, so I was like, if we're gonna fix this, let's fix it or whatever. But then it still didn't work. So it's like I can never say because I know a lot of women also say, well, if you got cheated on you, but I felt like I handled it like a god because I was okay. Like, did it bother me? Yes. Is it gonna affect me? Yes. But if you're gonna try to put in the effort to fight for your family, then put in the effort to fight for your family.
Mhm.
But then at that point, it's like it's no longer. It's always supposed to be the two people, but you can't fight that battle by yourself.
Yeah.
So after a while, you got to just be like, yo, am I really? Is it worth staying here? You know what I mean? And then we just walked away from it, and it was happier that way. We were both happier that way. But yes, I can get cheated on and take it.
Damn.
But
Man, I don't think it's worth fighting for it anymore
Yeah, I
after that
disagree.
point. 'Cause,
I hate
no, I mean, I totally get again in your situation, especially. Um, like I said, I haven't been in that relationship where you're actually married and you're trying to repair a marriage and everything. But again, in my situations, it's like, yeah, if you're dating somebody, no matter how serious you are, if it gets to that point, I think there's always an underlying resentment that's gonna constantly like repeatedly come back to you to the point where it's like I don't think it's possible to fix it at that point.
Yeah, obviously, there's something that you didn't want because that's why you cheated. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
you're in a situation where it's like, oh, I don't actually want to be with this person, or like, whatever. I guess people cheat for many different reasons, but it's like, yeah, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't do it.
At a certain point, it's still a choice.
That is a
Sorry.
very good mindset, but it's weird because you said it like when my therapist was talking about it. You said it like exact opposite, but it's the same thing. Like opposite isn't like you said it right, but the way he says it is basically if someone is gonna cheat on you, the first thing that like for instance, if you go to the mall and you're not with your girlfriend and you see a girl and you're like, oh, they have a big butt, and you keep looking at the same thing, or you like a girl because their smile or how bubbly they are, that's what you're missing at home. And that's the reason people cheat is because they fixate on it for a while and you don't actually realize it's almost subconscious for a long time and then it surfaces when opportunity arises. And that is what is scary is because it's cheating is like a sleeper agent. It's something that you think about a lot before you commit the murder.
well, not even that, but that's.
Dang.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like
Cheating to murder.
but
Okay.
I feel like,
It's the same.
and
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, but then that goes back into the communication aspect of it.
Right.
So if you're communicating, like, say she doesn't do this or he doesn't do that, but if you're communicating how everybody says that they do in these perfect relationships, then there won't happen or whatever. Like, oh, I like it when you do this, or I like it when you wear that, or when your hair is like this, I like it when your hair is like that. It really makes me feel more attracted to you in a certain way when you make these motions or when you do that. That way, you're not missing anything anymore because it's there. But what we are, I feel like we're being fed and we're being transformed because we see these things in front of us on TV and everything else that people keep saying. The number one thing people keep saying they want is communication. The number one thing that people don't do in relationships is communication.
Yeah.
And it's like, and half of that goes into the aspect of we're just afraid of the outcome of what the conversation is going to be.
Yeah.
But if we're with somebody that we want to be with forever, and we see something going, we can't be afraid of that.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I mean, it's one of those. What is it? You miss every shot you don't take. So you can say and say communicate with that person. Hey, I like it when you do this. If she gets mad at it, so be it. But at least she knows and you have the balls to actually communicate with.
Yeah.
So I
That's
think
true.
like I could now it's like I could read how do you say it? Like, I can figure out the question, right, that was posed in the beginning of this, what women want, right?
Yeah.
What women want is for us to read their mind. What women need is us to communicate together. That's entirely the problem. We need communication, and you're right.
It's not even a woman thing.
And I was gonna say, yeah, us as men do the same thing when we get mad at women for like, oh, you should have known that. I do this all the time. You should have known that.
Yeah, dude.
But
We don't.
yeah.
I don't even know what I wore yesterday. You? I don't even fucking know what I wore yesterday. You asking me to
I do
notice some shit.
my Final Fantasy 7 shirt.
Yeah.
And then my black and
What you
blue
wear the day before
shorts.
Yes,
The day
exactly.
before that.
You're rare. Yeah,
You didn't even let me finish. I wore my Demon Slayer shirt before that.
Yo, and I'm gonna say, I have a girlfriend. I came home one day. She got me flowers. I did not notice for 3 days. Okay? And I tried to tell her, how the fuck am I supposed to notice flowers? Men don't look for flowers. We don't go, damn, that's sick. You know what I mean? And when my friend came over, aka her brother, who's in this podcast, he came over, and I said, did you notice the flowers? He said, no. And why is that?
Because how many times you get flowers in your life?
Yeah, we don't.
For guys, it's maybe one.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with like. I'm guessing you don't like flowers.
No, it's the reading the mind thing. Like,
no.
noticing.
Hang on. If she got you in a video game, I bet you would notice that shit right away.
My boy.
You would have walked in and you saw it, like, I was like, what's that game right over there?
and that's like a subset of communication almost.
Yeah, well, it is, but it's like.
That's just knowing your partner.
Yeah. I'm not gonna go give you something that you don't want or like care about or anything. It's like, oh man, I just got. New shingles for your roof. It's like, cool, thanks.
If I get a new bedspread, I'm a hero.
Yeah. That's just, you just got to know, your partner, like you said.
Yeah, it's like, it's one of those things, like, it's kind of a losing battle on both, because, like, because like, every little thing, I feel like we don't have to be perfect, we'll be close to perfect. Even if we pay attention to the smaller things or whatever, sometimes it makes a difference. And I feel like sometimes we do forget that. That being said, I know a guy that's like kind of in a relationship too, and he'll do this and this and this for the house, and then she'll text him and be like, "Hey, why didn't you wipe the stove? Oh, I'm sorry, I did this and this. Well, you should have wiped the stove and this and that." You guys gotta cut us some slack. It's crazy because in our minds, on a daily basis, when we are in a relationship, we try to make it as perfect as we can. So if we do forget one thing, even if it's tiny, don't make a big deal about it. Because then men, I feel like, are wired, not all men, but a lot of men are wired is because like a lot of us are self-sabotage in a way. Because especially if we have people around us like, oh, well, this person wouldn't do that if I would have done this, you know what I mean? So it's like, just cut us some slack because we're trying as hard as we can.
So when you say self-sabotage, you mean like we're comparing ourselves to other people? Or like our relationship
either we're comparing, when you put us in that situation, well, damn, I did these 10 things, but she found that 111th thing or whatever. But then you'll be like, even if you see somebody like at work, I'm like, oh, but that person, she gives me this attention all the time. So then we veer off from that perfect vision of who we're with sometimes, in a way, because it's one of those, like, that's why people get mad if you have like a work husband or a work wife or whatever, and they feel like they prey on it or whatever, because when we feel like
because they're giving you acknowledgement.
Exactly.
The acknowledgement you're not getting at home kind of thing.
Yeah, so
it's kind of like what you said.
It's one of those, like, when you have a bad day type deal or whatever, like if you're doing everything you possibly can and you're trying to do all this, but then you shift our day by bagging on us on this one thing, and then somebody else comes up and gives us acknowledgement, like, you know what, that feels good. I was getting shit on, but now that feels good. And then that's what veers us away from those thoughts.
Support feels like?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. But he's like, and then one day at the work party,
exactly.
She looked at me a little sideways with a mini skirt on.
Well, yeah, I feel like it's like frequency, you know, in a sense, is like for people, you know. For instance, it's like if you get that one commercial and you're like, damn, I like that commercial, but I don't hear it often. No one says that, right? You hear Scott Lehman 100 times. You're like, damn, I hate that commercial. You know what I'm saying?
The dealer for the people.
Yeah, the dealer for the people.
DJ looked confused, and I was like, We all know who it is.
Dude, exactly.
It
Look,
took a second. I didn't know his name.
Yeah.
No, he yelled it at me like 1.5 million times a day.
dude, yeah.
I don't listen to commercials.
But
sorry.
proving your
And
point.
so it's almost
Commercials don't work.
refreshing to hear like a different commercial, or you hear one, you're like, I might want to buy from Honda now because it's not Scott Lehman. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it is. You know, you got your work, whatever.
You hear that, ladies?
But-
Don't
and-
be Scott Lehman.
Yeah,
Be
No,
a Honda.
yeah. So I mean, for men to go to work
Yeah.
and they deem someone like their work wife or whatever the case is, right? It's about frequency. You're not hearing all the bad stuff all the time. You're hearing that one good thing a week, and it slowly interests you. It's the same entity of the sleeper. It's the sleeper. You know, you start to idolize this person in a weird way, and you never act on it until you have a really fucking bad time.
Mermaid theory.
That's just what it
I
is.
mean,
That's exactly what he's describing.
but I mean,
Mermaid
Yeah,
theory.
if you set up
what's a
if you
mermaid
set up
theory?
boundaries and
This
everything,
is
we'll go to that in a little bit. But it's like if you set up boundaries with, we'll say, your quote unquote work wife and your at home one and everything, it shouldn't turn out to be an issue like that. Or it's like at that point you're just having a friend that is also a female.
Yeah, but like my thing is, I said that one like example, but if it's happening on a daily basis, I'm doing this right, I'm doing this right, I'm doing this right. But she found that one thing, day one, I'm doing this right, I'm doing this right, I'm doing this right. But she found that one thing, day two, and it keeps going on
Yeah.
and on and on. You're gonna start looking at the other people that are being like,
You know, see, that's just a communication thing. Because again,
goes back
like
to communication.
to me, that's that happens at work. Just like, oh, you have your list of tasks that you got to do, and then your boss comes up and says, "Oh, you didn't do this one thing." Or it's like, "Yeah, but hang on, let's celebrate the successes of all the stuff that I did right." And you got to actually communicate that I did this, 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 and this. So yes, maybe we need to talk about like whatever this 11th thing is. We need to talk about like, okay, maybe that needs to work into the rotation. Maybe
Yeah.
this is something we need to split so that like I don't feel like I'm just doing everything. That's a communication issue. That's not a.
Yeah, don't let that
shouldn't
one
be a
negative
fight.
wipe
Yeah.
out the 10
Well, then why are you
positives.
looking at just the negative thing then? It's like, oh yeah, you know, I cleaned the house, did the dishes, you know, did whatever. It's like, but you didn't paint the whole entire house though. So well, wasn't even a thing I was supposed to do today. That's a weekend thing. Let's talk about that. Yeah. So I don't know. That's just a communication thing.
and I wrote down going back because like one of my favorite shows is Boy Meets World, right?
Yeah.
You think Corey, you think Topanga, perfect couple, right?
Amazing, yeah.
A perfect couple,
I was like,
perfect for
perfect.
what? Well, no, listen,
As,
perfect-
as,
it was
as
perfect
close to perfect as you can get,
Sure,
yeah.
fine, okay.
all the way up until like they were perfect couple, all the way up to
The ski
the
lodge.
ski lodge.
Yeah.
He did everything perfect every day, this and that, and then that one thing ruined everything. So do you feel like she should have broke off everything from that one time?
Okay.
Her name is weird.
Hmm.
Topanga.
Topanga.
Yeah, we knew problems were coming there.
So
Wow.
again, that's a hard one because he did end up kissing her, right?
Yeah.
He did-
Well, okay, in the context of the show, sure he kissed her, but
that's
you
like
know, what
that-
they were
if it-
trying to say
That's
is
like
that he
him.
slept with
Yeah,
her.
that's like him
yeah,
having sex.
I'm saying
Because
if that
he's-
wasn't an actual like TV show and everything, if that
Yeah.
happened to you or somebody in
handshakes
real
and
life,
break up.
I don't honestly think it would have turned out that way.
Yeah.
Well, you think they would have stayed apart, or you think it would have just?
I think eventually they would have been apart.
Really.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
Yeah,
it was like even
mine-
if you think
why?
about it, like
'Cause-
going back to like deep into it, if you go in what the next episode or so like that,
And then she does the same.
she does the same exact thing, and he's been telling the whole time it meant nothing. It meant nothing. How can you not feel something? It meant nothing. So she had to go around and kiss, which also
Yeah.
is like sleep with someone else and see that it meant nothing for her to finally realize that he was right, even though he's been dedicating his whole life to her since.
Yeah.
So,
See the
it's two
TV,
cheaters.
yeah, the TV version of that, it works out, but I think in real life, again, I think Topanga would have had the same resentment towards Corey until she had her experience, and then she was like, "Oh, well, now we're even," kind of thing.
Yeah,
But then that
fair enough.
was just gonna boil in Corey until college years or whatever it was, and then the next time something happens, that's gonna come up over and over in every argument, and I do honestly think that can tear it apart.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of, nice bringing that up. Stop bringing up old shit in arguments.
No, dude, but that is the secret weapon of a woman. It's not. It never goes away, dude. They chamber it like in like a little jar, and they shake the jar like an 8 ball, and whatever fucking bad incident that came up, like we'll go with that. You remember when you did that, and it doesn't go away. It just go back in the jar. If they shake it, it's a different one.
And then I've also been
Yeah,
like,
but it's like
not even
that could
like,
be the poison right there. That
Yeah.
could be the dagger where it's like, well, you cheated on me first, and it's like, 6 years down the line, you say all that, and you're like, really?
and
It's
then
like my worst mistake in my life. You're gonna throw that back at me right now.
And it's one of those things too, like not even that, like bringing up old shit, because number one, 9 times out of 10 we're not gonna remember, and then once you bring it up, then we start remembering the trauma from like.
Yeah, I was gonna say you'll remember how you felt, but you won't remember
like,
what happened.
But then and then you're like, fuck, so I have no way to fight this.
Yeah, you have no way to rebuttal. Like there's no way because you can't remember what the fuck you wore. Like I said, like yesterday or the day before, how the fuck? And then when it comes up, you look like it was insensitive. You're like, oh shit, I forgot. Yeah, you're right. But it comes off bad because
not only that too, like it's like. So going back to the original topic, like what these women want. What bothers me also is some women in arguments. Arguments suck, right? But if you
I win a lot.
Arguments suck, but
you cheated.
That's kind of
cheat in the argument, not cheat on women. I need to make that clear right now.
Yeah, but like, it's like in the argument. Yeah, sometimes it does lead to shouting and this and that. Obviously, you don't want it to lead to physical because that's when the cops get involved. But anyways, when you're arguing, you're still communicating, right? The one thing women always say to us, I want you to communicate. I want you to be open. I want you to be, like, just show that side of me that you can't show to anybody else, right? Why is it when we do that, when we have an argument, boom, they hit you with the insecurities?
Well, that's different because that's an argument. that's not productive communication.
But I've never, in an argument, I've never hit somebody to a point. I try not to hit somebody to the point to where, like, if you're showing me your insecurities,
like they tangent.
Yeah, but again, that's you can say arguing is communicating, but again, that's bad communication because that means you're yelling or you're trying to hurt someone or you're
facetious.
Back and forth. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like that's not a good like. Oh, we need to communicate more. That means we need to fight.
But he's right though because you're talking about like nice arguments, dude. The ones he's talking about are vicious.
Yeah. But they don't even have to be vicious. Like I feel like we aren't that vicious. Like I know some women are aggressive, some guys are aggressive, but some relationships that I've seen work, that's just their personality, so they clash. But just because you're clashing, you can have we've had productive, loud arguments where nobody's hurting each other's feelings.
We're not really arguing though. Like we'll argue about stuff, but it's not like a real like. Oh no, we're actually. That's not. What am I trying to say? That is, we are communicating the way we like to communicate. So when we have those arguments, quote unquote arguments, those are actually just our fun. Like that's how we talk about stuff. That's how we talk about our enemy. That's why we can have these quote unquote fights. They're not actually fights. It's just how we like to communicate. But if you're arguing about something, that's not a favorable communication for anybody. That's like a legit fight. It's like, no, I actually hate you because of this. I hate this. I hate this. I can't believe you would do this to me all the time. Let's bring back that thing that you did 5 years ago and blah blah blah. It's like that's just not. No, you before you get to that point or after you cool off, you guys need to find the way that you guys can communicate to where you guys both receive the information.
And really, I feel like the way that we do it though, we all classify each other as boys. Like we're all not just boys in the aspect, but we're all friends.
2022.
And so we
Classify yourself how you want.
we don't fight the same way as if it was like a woman and a man. Like if you're in like a relationship with a woman and a man, right? Like it's different because the first instinct, if you go back to caveman times or not even maybe a little further than that, men, they get aggressive right away when they get mad. They get physical, right? And women, they probably had to figure out some fucking way to do more damage than physical. They can't win that way. They go for assassination. That shit is like of the emotions. That is where you're the weakest. And so you fight. It's like the same thing as throwing a punch, except they do it verbally and emotionally.
Yeah, and that's what you're saying. That's not communicating.
It's
that's
not.
arguing.
No, it's not. But that's
I mean.
what he's
so
saying.
When you get to that point where you're arguing, you need to just stop and step away and cool off and get to that point where you guys can communicate about what it is you're trying to get across.
I'm saying it's
like
primal.
why you're upset.
It's
But that's the
primal
thing,
why
too.
they do
Like
that.
I've been in relationships where you are communicating. You're not
I
even.
see you shaking
necessarily-
your head over there, Marco. What are you trying to say? What do you want to say?
Speak up.
Man.
And sit for it when
You
you
totally just was like,
Yeah,
I'm like, okay.
Well, because I agree with DJ. I think that the whole primal argument is aged. It's old. I don't think we're primal anymore. But it goes with
I don't have instincts anymore. It's gone.
That's
I
true.
mean,
You
instincts
should have
from when
instincts.
they beat people with clubs. Like I don't know.
Who beat
I
people
think-
with
I think
clubs,
we've-
women or men?
I think we've evolved from then.
wow.
Yeah, but there's times where you can, like, even if you can have a calm communication between each other, and if I've been in a situation where like everything's cool, everything's fine, but when they feel like you are wanting up on them or whatever, or you're starting to make more sense, boom, let me knock them down too.
Assassin's Creed
I think-
style.
That's
Well,
because most women, from my experience, are emotional creatures. They don't think logically.
Due to instincts.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
again, it comes down to the whole point of the argument and everything. Where it's like, if you guys are arguing, are you arguing to win that conversation, to win that argument, or are you arguing to actually solve something?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, if we're arguing about football, anime, or whatever, we'll actually take in the other person's perspective of it and be like, this is why I think I'm right, and then we'll argue it out until we come to an actual conclusion,
Mm-hmm.
whether, or as opposed to, I'm just trying to beat DJ in this conversation. Now I'll say whatever I can to win.
Yeah.
But when
You know?
Those random ones, and you didn't tie your shoes yesterday.
Yeah, because it's like at this point, it's like, all right, time out, go back over there, get some water, stretch, and then let's
Mhm.
figure out an actual
Yeah,
point
but
to this
see,
conversation.
with me personally, like I feel like I don't have to because I'm already non-confrontational. So if we have an argument, I just want the communication to be out there. Let's say what we both have to say, and how can we reach an agreement? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Well,
What-
that's
what-
part of you got to be in a relationship for that too. Because again, like if you're in a relationship, if you're in a relationship with someone, I think one of the things you have to figure out is how you guys can talk to each other. Like
Yeah.
that just
Well,
has to be a thing.
But it has to actually be like a sit down conversation. Like, hey, if I do see something that you do that bothers me, how do you want me to approach it with you?
yeah,
And like have that actual conversation, because it's
Right.
like, I'd totally be down to be like, can I make you mad real quick? Like,
yeah.
those new jeans you got look stupid. I'll be back, and just take off.
Yeah.
And like, I'll come
And
back 10
and
minutes
say,
later, like,
I
all
heard
right,
what you said.
let's talk about this.
You walk in, all the curtains are slashed, and
Yeah, right.
TV's on the
Or
ground, and she's like, I heard what you said, and this is what I think about it.
PS5's
You
broken.
gotta find a way to vent your anger.
yeah,
and
then come back and have a
perfect
real
after that.
conversation.
Yeah, you know?
I thought you
Or-
guys
or can you be like,
I
hey,
smashed it.
Can we have a safe space for a second so I can tell you something?
Meet me outside.
no.
No.
Damn, G.
We're-
That's something different.
No,
See,
we're
that's
trying.
communicating.
Again, we're not trying to win. We're trying to
Meet me
demolish.
outside.
Your instinct versus mine. Which way?
No, I just want to be like, can we have a safe space for a second? I crashed into your car. Do you want to talk about this now, or should I give you like a week? Like, but you have to actually sit down and establish how you want to do that real quick, or because the one that just made me think of was Turk. where he was gonna lose an argument and he was like, "Well, your new jeans look stupid." And she looked and he was like, "Well, I'm already in trouble and it had to be said."
Right?
Yeah,
Where it's
bam,
like-
there it is.
He fought like a woman. At the end, he did. He attacked
Nah,
the
he-
fucking image.
He threw it out and was like, "You're gonna be mad at me for the rest of the day. There's no making up. So here's what I want you to fix.
I have a
Let's compound that, and then tomorrow we'll have a good day."
I hear you guys. I just feel like
Look-
I mean, the one thing that we all have been saying throughout this whole conversation is communication.
Mhm.
So, and it's like we need on both sides need to learn how to communicate better or whatever. And I know we got off task a little bit, but I mean, I feel like we are learning to communicate better. But if we tell you these things when we're communicating with you, just hear us out, because in the end of the day, like if we're in a relationship, we're in it for you. You know what I mean? So there's no need for you to think that we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that. I'm guilty of. I used to be like, well, this is what happened in my past relationship, so this is gonna happen now. I've noticed a lot that happens
Mm-hmm.
a lot too. So I feel like in a lot of the times in that time period when I was thinking about talking to somebody or I was talking to somebody, they hold what happened in their past forever or whatever. I hold it in the moment. Give me time. I'm getting past this or whatever, but I'm not going to make
Okay, I understand what you're saying, but like at the same time, you can't expect other people to have that same mindset. And again, it goes back to communication. If that's something that happens, because everybody has baggage. So if somebody has baggage to the point where they can't, it's crippling them. Well, then you have to either decide if that's somebody you want to be with, if you're going to help them out, if you're going to actually like talk to them and try to unload that for them.
Not for or with.
I agree.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
for with, because that's my problem, but that's beside me. But yeah, like, you have to be able to, like, again, it's hard because when you're so stuck on yourself in your own mindset, you can't, like, talk with the other person about how, like, what's upsetting them, how it's upsetting them, and, like, the things that are building up for them aren't building up the same way for you. So it's like, again, you have to be able to have like a release, and that's something that you figure out while you're in the relationship.
Yeah.
And if that person can't communicate with you, and if that person is like, if you guys are arguing all the time, if you guys are having like these like big issues, these big fights, whatever, it's like maybe that's not the person you want to be with. Like that's the whole point of dating. You know what I mean?
And that's what I had to learn
Yeah.
along the way.
Well, I'm still not married.
But yeah, so I feel like we hit a lot of things today for our first episode.
And basically, for women, it's like just if you're gonna tell us what we did wrong, tell us something we did right as well. Make it a 50-50 exchange. Praise your dude. He's worth it.
Wait.
So pretty.
Yeah, man. And then don't have expectations.
Yeah.
Expect them to be people.
Everybody should go into the relationship with zero expectations. If that person worked for you, obviously they got you because you saw something in them that you like.
Yeah.
So build off of that. Don't build off of what you went through. But also don't build off of your future expectations. Live in the now. It's what I feel like. Because a lot of people, I want this and this for my future. Live right now. Because in the now is where you start to build that future.
Yeah.
Stop thinking, I want this in 5 years. I want that in 10 years. Think of, I like this person, man or woman or whatever. This is what I like about this person. This is what I like about the person. You know what I mean? And build it from now or whatever. Don't pull from the past. It's easier to get along with us in that aspect as well. So I enjoyed this conversation. It felt good. So we're gonna hit you guys up next week. I have a couple ideas on what I want to do for episode 2. I'm gonna get with you guys. So thank you for listening. I appreciate you.
And enjoy the snacks.
This, I feel like you can't do this for me because this is what I'm looking for. But how, if you're not giving me that chance right now to see what we can build together, how do you know it's not gonna work in the future?
Yeah, well, true, but again, that's like the whole like dating aspect. It's like, I like this person right now, and then you get to know them, and it's like, I can actually see me building a life with this person, and that's you planning for the future. It's like, oh, I
Yeah,
want
no,
you to be
you
able to
you can
see.
do
You can,
that. That's
yeah,
that's
yeah. But I'm
not.
saying a lot of people already have in their mind what they want in the future, and then they'll date you for a
And
little
they're
bit
like,
and base it off of what you're doing right now. Like, well, this is not what I feel like this is going to
Yeah,
lead to.
because
What's my
if they come in with expectations of this is what I want for my future and everything, then they're more ignoring who you are and trying to get you to fit into that picture.
so then
It's
that
the
way you're
same thing with
changing that
like
way
me getting
forward.
baptized and stuff,
yes, but
where
that's like,
it was like, oh, I can't really listen to the music that I like because that's not in her future, or watch R-rated movies because that's not in her future, and I have to be temple worthy and stuff like that. It's like, you do like me, right? And she's like, oh yeah, I love you for who you are. I was like, then why are you trying to change my music, my shows, my personality, my Sundays, my football?
Again,
And it's like,
did you ever
yeah,
have that conversation with that person?
way too many times.
Yeah, once you have that conversation, why are you then trying to stay with this person?
Have you ever heard
It-
that
You have to
theory
kind
that?
of.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say that's when you gotta like assess that situation and be like, you know what, this person isn't what I want because this person is trying to change me into something that I'm not. And it's like, well, then yeah, then don't be with that person. I don't know. I just.
It
I
is,
don't know.
but again, that's what I was saying. Like, you start dating and everything, and you're like,
Mhm.
okay, I like her, she likes me, and everything, and then 3 months in, they're like, oh well, if we're looking to do this, then you have to be like this. It's like you're trying to change the person that they are. It's like, no, let them be them and tell them it's like, okay, you do need to do this as part of your obligations, but they can't be like, if not, then we can't be in this relationship.
Have you guys heard of that theory that women always look to the future for guidance and men always look to the past for guidance? And the problem is that when a man is broken, when he's heartbroken, they always go back. They always go back to the person that broke their heart and try to fix things. If a woman gets their heart broken, they go forward. They find the next person that they can look to for answers. And so the problem is like when you get two broken people, it's always so very it's different on the communication aspect of like how do we approach these answers and this guidance. A man will always act upon what happened in the past. He'll always be like, I did this, and he'll punish himself. And a woman will always look to something that you're different from. And it's just it's kind of weird to think about, but it's very common amongst most people.
And they say the reason she likes you is because you're less like her ex.
Yes, and then the reason that you
You
like
like
her is because she's more like her in a sense,
Mm.
or
It's
she's
like your
similar,
mom.
or she's similar.
Mm.
Now, I mean,